for a few days. Spent some time last night after both of the streams, hammering out the Heliod combo deck with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. This is a card that has definitely been overperforming so far in testing, and I think this is a pretty obvious shell to be working on it. There are a lot of ways to build this deck. I, for a long time, was trying to figure out, do we want to be playing Spike Feeder? Do we want to be playing Collected Company? Do we want to be splashing black and play Bowmaster and Grist? These are all answers. So one thing I kind of determined is that I think Ranger-Captain, I think, is super mandatory. This is like pretty premium interaction for a lot of matchups, like Living In, like Tron, just buys you like a whole turn. And with Agatha's Soul Cauldron, it's like a very good activated ability to have access to, allowing you to like just make, if you can go Ranger Captain, sack it, by a turn something else into another Ranger Captain, sack it, by another turn, or obviously sack it so you can like resolve your combo too. Is such a big deal. I also think that Spike Feeder is like very interesting, but kind of one issue I have with it is like the card is just so bad to draw. It's very good to Coco into it, I think. Coco into it in something else, but it's very bad to hardcast, I think. And maybe with Cauldron it's not as bad to hardcast. We can maybe try a Spike Feeder version at some point, but I kind of wanted to reiterate on the old formula we had, kind of like this mono-white mid-range shell. That's getting to play like a lot of lands, is playing Solitude, is playing Leyline Binding. This is something we've done in the past and had success with in the past. But now you have access to something you never did before, which is the One Ring as a really, really powerful card advantage engine. Something that the deck was absolutely kind of dying for. Black Splash, Green Splash 5, but we do have a Green Splash here for Haywire Mite, which I think is something you want with your Ranger Captains. We also have access to Reprieve, and the sideboard solves a lot of problems. Sanctifier is really, really nice. A lot of ways to build a deck, but this is like high card quality, very much an Idyllic Grange. I'll say this too. Idyllic Grange is something I want to be playing in all of my Soul Cauldron Heliod decks. I don't want to be playing Utopia Sprawl Arbor Elf. I want to be playing Idyllic Grange. If I'm playing Soul Cauldron, I want to be putting counters on my creature, give them the activated abilities, turning everything into a Ballista with Cauldron, getting an extra ping off these Idyllic Granges. That's something I really want to be doing also. We have Ontanice in the sideboard, so there are snowlands. And, this should be a pretty easy thing, chat. See a bunch of basic planes. Briefly glance. Is there an Ontanice? This is a card that I want against Scam, I want against Murktide, I want against Hammer. All decks that are picking up in popularity at the moment. Any consideration for Emeria? No. This is not a good Emeria deck, I think. You really, really want Idyllic Grange to be on turn 4, put a counter on something. This is your utility land. And because this is your utility land, we're playing, I believe, 11 fetch lands? Or, hold on, we're playing 13 fetch lands. So it's like you have 14 Idyllic Granges in your deck, which is very, very good. You do not want to play any land in your deck that does not say type planes on it. Yeah, turning everything into a Giver of Runes seems really nice also. I also say that Esper Sentinel is a card that's lost a lot of stock with Orcish Bowmaster, but because this deck can pump it with Agatha's Soul Cauldron and Idyllic Grange, Esper Sentinel is a little bit better into the Bowmaster metagame than it usually would be. Could go a little harder than Splash for Feeder. Did you tune in like within the last minute? Because that was one of the first things I said. Feeder feeds Cauldron for anything. Let's keep this. I think I will be leading on Esper Sentinel here. I think you could make a good argument for leading on a Triome. It's not the worst. You're playing it wrong. No disrespect. Been playing it since Legacy Survival Combo. I love when people back up their arguments with, I've been playing it since 2001, baby. Please articulate your arguments in a way that like has, reason. Please like say something to back up your point. Don't just say, don't appeal to your history. Appeal to like just talk about why you think the card is good. Or it is not helpful to say I've been playing this card for 20 years, brother. I'm promising you're playing it wrong. You think I don't have a lot of experience with and against Spike Feeder? What the fuck are we talking about? What the fuck are we talking about? Well, would have liked that to be a little bit higher in the library, but we're doing okay, I think. Usually like to get Raugrin Triome first. I think I'll get Indatha just in case we don't get the Raugrin, but we'll get the Raugrin here. Oh, well, I don't know, maybe I won't. Maybe I will be Idyllic Granging next turn. That's actually somewhat likely. Let's attack, I think. No, we'll play around Bowmasters for a turn. I could play my Ballista. If they have Bowmasters, then it'll be alright to have Ballista in play still. Wire tape with the 3 Bunsey, thank you. Yeah, I know that people just get excited. They just get excited when they see a new deck list, and it's just when people are suggesting things immediately, like before we've even done a single turn of a single game. Chat is full of suggestions on how to build a deck differently. I know it's a good sign because people are excited about it, but it's just there's just certain arguments for Magic things. They're just pet peeves of mine, I guess. They're just pet peeves of mine to just be I've been playing this card 20 years, brother. You're playing it wrong. I'll tell you what. My granddaddy taught me how to play with Spike Feeder, and you don't know what you're doing, and that's okay. No offense, brother. No offense, brother. But literally point to a card in this deck that is worse than Spike Feeder. when I'm saying if you play Spike Feeder, it's the worst card in your deck. It's slow. It's 3 mana. It's a 2/2. It's a sorcery speed effect. It is very easy to play around in a deck without Collected Company, where you're not putting it into play at instant speed, What about the Beanstalk? I thought about playing Beanstalk in this deck, actually. Could be good. Maybe you should not reach out there in the first 5 minutes. No, I think that me saying stuff like this is a good. This is another thing too. Whenever I get heated a little bit, people are like, oh, just don't reach out, just don't look at chat, Spike. But it's good for me to talk about this. This me ranting like this, I do genuinely believe leads to more productive conversations about Magic in the future, which is all I want. I am so nerdy for productive Magic conversations. That's all I want in life. Why do you think this is better than a Cocoa Build? That's a good question. I talked about it at the beginning. One is I have a good amount of experience with this mono white shell with Idyllic Grange. I've liked it a lot. I think so. One thing. I think the white creatures are better than the green creatures. I think Esper Sentinel, the white 1-drops are better than the green 1-drops. I want to be playing Esper Sentinel, Giver of Runes, more than I want to be playing Arbor Elf, Delighted Halfling. You could play Halfling and the other two if you're playing green. I don't think you could play 16 1-drops. Sentinel, especially in the Idyllic Grange, is so and now Cauldron too. Very, very impressive card. You're putting counters on it. You're drawing more cards. It's not as weak to Bowmasters. It's a very, very nice combination. If you are going to play Collected Company, there's also a bit of an issue of you've built your entire deck around Collected Company, and Collected Company is your best card, but the rest of your deck is. When you're not drawing Company, your deck is always weaker than if you just haven't built your deck with Company in mind. And so, especially now with the One Ring, you get to have this much smoother Idyllic Grange mana base than being a mana base of all planes that is trying to splash green for Cocoa and 1-drops. It's very odd to be you're splashing 1-drops, you're splashing Company. It can work, but it's more painful, and it's a bit more work. But then you just play Ring over Collected Company instead. All of a sudden, boom, you're attacking from a different angle. This is a card that's going to buy you a lot of time. It's going to dig you for combo pieces. It's going to be more resilient to sweepers. These are all things I like about this build compared to a more traditional Heliod deck. I'll say this as well. Collected Company Heliod decks, where have they been? You know what I mean? Have you... Oh, Spike, why are you playing this over the very good Collected Company Heliod decks that have been around for a long time? Obviously, Cauldron is a new addition that can maybe help, but it's also no secret that the traditional Heliod formula of Coco into Spike Feeder Heliod has been failing for a very long time. Is Cauldron enough to help those decks? I think probably not, especially because it's not a creature for company. I really like to experiment with the formula of how these decks are built to try to improve upon them, you know? So, these are a lot of loose thoughts. A lot of them I went over at the beginning, too. What do you think, Grange is better than the Saga package? Have you watched this game? Have you watched this game? Did you see how insane Idyllic Grange it was? Grange, and like, Grange is insane in this deck. It's so good. Like, I genuinely, I don't usually like to, like, you know, whenever I'm showing, like, what's happening on screen, I love to be like, did you see that? Grange is just so powerful and flexible. And here's this, too. When you play Urza Saga, you have 4 utility lands in your deck. When you play Idyllic Grange, you have 14. You have 14 Idyllic Granges. It's awesome. Sick. And you get to play Leyline Binding. You can't really play Binding as easily with Saga. Okay, I'm going to cut the Haywire Mite. Could be a good matchup to go away from the combo, even. I wonder if we could just, like, cut the Cauldrons, cut the Heliods. No, although Cauldron exiling their, like, as graveyard hate is not that bad. So what if we go, like, -2 Heliod, -1 Cauldron, -2 Ballista as a start. Then we still have a lot of cards we need to cut. Oh. Sorry, these are dragged. Maybe we just play Cauldron. Is that crazy? Putting just counters on Sanctifier is pretty good. Let's try this. You could play Ephemerate. I think that in this build, if I wanted to play Ephemerate or Brought Back, I might play Brought Back since we have so many fetch lands and we don't have that many. Like Ranger-Captain works equally well with, or maybe even a little bit better with Brought Back than Ephemerate. But you could. Sentinels feel bad. I think Sentinels are a lot better against Scam than you're used to them at the moment because we can more often put counters on them. I could be wrong with that thesis, though. Do you find there's tension between wanting to deploy fetches turn 1, turn 2 to get Triomes versus saving your fetches for turn 4 Granges? Not very much because you have, you have 13 fetches plus 3 Granges. So we just have infinite Granges. That it's not very difficult. This being a Cauldron deck means you don't have to run Graveyard Hate in the sideboard. Well, we have Sanctifiers. We also have main deck Cauldron. So and then as far as living end goes, we have Reprieve and we have Ranger-Captain as like Graveyard Hate here. Shining Shoal tech was considered. So problem with Shining Shoal is you really want to play Emeria, like the MDFC, but this deck you need to be all about the Idyllic Granges, so it's kind of tough to include that card. Let's see what we draw. Temple Garden. Cool. So now our Granges are going to enter with a counter. We can get Raugrin Triome here. Feel bad for not playing Bowmaster. Yeah, I did seriously consider splashing for Bowmaster. I'm still open to splashing for Bowmaster. I currently think that the list is pretty good as is. This is still, maybe this doesn't need to be said in early draft. I think if you were going to play Bowmaster, the card you would probably need to cut would be Leyline Binding. I think the card you'd probably need to cut would be Leyline Binding, since if you're going to be fetching a lot of Godless Shrines aggressively, you're not setting up the domain as easily, and Bowmaster is kind of functioning as your extra removal spell. That would be my general thinking. Probably just want to grab Forge-Tender here. I think green is worth playing in Times to Food. I've played in Time and Food Shells in the past. It's like okay. So we're probably gonna slam the ring here. My opponent mulliganed to 5 this game, by the way. You basically always want to put a counter on the Sentinel. I think I'll leave the Ranger-Captain back to block the Shaman. Press back. Could you cut Sentinel for Bowmaster if it doesn't work out? No, you cannot. You cannot cut Esper Sentinel from your Idyllic Grange Agatha's Cauldron deck. It's too good. I know that it's worse than a Bowmaster metagame. It is still one of the best 1-drops ever printed, and is much better in this shell than it is in other decks. The difference between a 2/2 Esper Sentinel and a 1/1 Esper Sentinel is a lot. It's just so nice, and they're 2/2 a lot of the time. Yeah, Shieldred's very good here. Probably their best possible card. I guess I'm drawing 2. Come on, Solitude or Binding. Well. So next turn we can go 2/2 Ballista, Idyllic Grange a counter on Ballista, fetch a counter on Ballista. Still not big enough. Yeah, I guess maybe we could have Giant Killer. We also have Ontanice, so we have 11 cards that kill this. I do have it in the sideboard, right? Yeah, I just didn't board it in. I mean, it doesn't hit a ton of things in the matchup for what it's worth. So we go down to 9, then down to 7. If I tap the ring, I'm not fetching anymore. Yeah, we're not going to win if we don't draw removal anyways. I don't know. We have 11 answers to Shieldred. In our top 22 cards, there are none of them. It feels bad. Why is cutting the combo best driver a scam? Is that their hand attack lines up well and their removal? I mean, these decks are very good at disrupting 2-card creature combos. I should have guessed my Forge-Tender too. No, I have protection from everything at the moment, so not currently dead to Turok. I only have 1 more Ballista in the deck as an answer. Turok is pretty good against us. Seems like, I mean, we have to draw an answer to Shieldred, and then we have to, like, I don't know, draw Ballista off the ring. Seems tough. They could also draw step, Grief Me, so we have to draw, like, Solitude or Binding, specifically. Alright, let's just go to the next game. Game 3. So if I play Giant Killer, it kills Scammed Fury and it kills Shieldred. It only kills those 2 cards. We also have 11 answers to Shieldred. Are we actually supposed to play it? I don't know. It could be the case, though, that Heliod were like a little light on life gain for the ring. Oh, Scam Grief too. Okay, yeah, sure. I don't know why I didn't think it could kill Scam Grief. We'll bring it in. Could go down to 1 Cauldron in this matchup. I think I want 2. Trim a Giver, trim a Ring. Let's trim a Ring. Isn't at least 1 Heliod good? Well, what do you want to play the first Heliod over, though? Like, every card is good. Hard matchup to mulligan in. If my opponent scams, I could just not cast my 1-drop. I'm gonna mulligan, I think, but I always like to, when I have a borderline hand, see if I can talk myself into a keep against scam, if that makes sense. So I'd Mold 5 again. Why did Ariak Champion not make the list of room? Yeah, it's like Ariak Champion is better if you're playing the Scurry Oak combo, I guess, which is viable. Scurry Oak, Heliod, Ariak goes infinite. In this deck, Ariak Champion is just like, the only synergy you have with it in the deck is if you have a Heliod in play, you get to put counters on things. Otherwise, it's mostly just a 2-mana 1/1 that's good against Scam. But we also have a ton of cards that are good against Scam already, so it doesn't feel that necessary to include, if that makes sense. Cut Bindings as a Moon. I would be surprised if my opponent had Moon in post-board against the mono-white deck, but, you know, anything's possible. My opponent took Ranger-Captain over Sanctifier en-Vec. That is interesting. I would guess that they have an answer to it in their hand. Oh, weird. I think this deck is better positioned than Samwise. Dude, this Sentinel is crazy. I can't believe it's been this good. This deck is better positioned than Samwise because your pieces aren't always creatures, so you're better into creature removal. I mean, yeah, but also, like, whenever you're playing any Heliod variant, you're almost always going to have some good, like, 4-mana card, except you're going to have better card advantage engines, right? Like, you're going to be playing Company into 3-drops instead of Company into 2-drops when you're playing Sam combo. Esper Sentinel is a really, really good card in the Heliod deck because you can grow it, and that's a good card advantage engine as we've seen this match. This deck has the ring. This deck gets to play a lot of removal. Like, this version gets to play a lot of removal. If you play the Coco build, then you can play... You can play Skyclave Apparition, and it's kind of hard to play Solitude. You know, that's another advantage of this over Coco, is getting Solitude Binding, of course. What? I think I put back Giver. Cutting one ring and skills with their Cauldron. That's fine if that's what your gut is telling you to do. I've been saying this for a while, that you're going to play any combination of... ooh, do I just, like, 0-mana Ballista here? Put a counter on the Sentinel? That's the best line against a Bowmaster. And a 2-power Sentinel is really good. Having Cauldron Heliod's good. Let's do it. We can just get another Ballista off Ranger-Captain anyways. I guess maybe I should have played the Cauldron first, but... it's also fine. If they kill, we just get to draw a card. Red Tech was fun. I had really... we went 0-5, but it was like the most fun I've had on stream in a long time. Okay, so we do get to draw a card. If we are up against Scam again, then Cauldron can stop them from undying anything, too. There could be like Coffers or Mono Black or something. Interesting. Some Coffers deck have been playing Saga. I don't like it very much there, but people have been doing it. We missed our third land, which sucks. I have no play. With Bowmaster. Wonder what they're doing over there. Is it Jund Saga maybe that just drew their swamp? Is it Coffers? It could be the Rack. I've actually seen some Rack decks popping around lately. Obviously, if we never hit our third lane drop and our hand does nothing, we're in bad shape. That's a good draw, though. So, do we get Sentinel since we can turn any creature into a Sentinel? Maybe, or sorry, Ballista. Since we can turn any creature into a Ballista. Maybe it does make sense to get, like, another Sentinel. No Gigantha, so not Gen. They sometimes don't play Gigantha. It's not 0%. So if they make a token here, I think I just kill the token. AJD with the 20 months, thank you. Smooch with the 29, thank you. Get Mite. Well, the problem is Mite's not gonna be able to kill their Saga, but maybe I mean playing against the second Saga is okay. Yeah, it could be like Asmo Persist, Asmo Gorios. Which would be a good argument for getting Mite. Chromatic Star. Usually want to play Sphere over Star if you're don't have sacrifice abilities, because you can respond. You can't respond to Sphere with Bowmaster, but you can with Star. So Grief pitch Dothi Voidwalker. Well, my hand is pretty bad. We could sack in response to stop them from scamming it, but again, I think my hand is just bad enough, and If they're taking creatures, that's going to be fuel for my my Cauldron. Oh, for Beseech? Okay. That would make sense that they have Beseech in their deck, I guess. Good point. Thanks, HGD with the 20 months. Smooch to the 29. They're just going to take both Heliods. I would assume if they're taking one, they're taking both. So we can get Heliod's activated ability. You can't get Heliod's passive ability with Cauldron, but Lifelink is nice. They shouldn't really have an attack here. We do have a pretty decent attack. Let me just go Sentinel, Ballista, attack for 3. Okay, they take 3, and then I'm going to... I think I want to just kill the Bowmaster now before they can start making me draw and pinging stuff. Which one doesn't draw from Voidwalker? This one doesn't draw from Voidwalker. But yeah, you would imagine that this is a Beseech target, so they're like a mono black Beseech deck, which is cool. I do wonder if I'm going to be lifelinking a creature here for... Do I lifelink 2 creatures? Let's see, I can lifelink, I can put a counter on Ballista, I can put a counter on anything, actually. I guess I target stuff in their graveyard, because I already have the abilities under the Cauldron. I can also cast Binding now, I guess. Maybe I don't attack. I just have infinite options here. Let's not attack. Give lifelink Ballista, kill token when... Cauldron doesn't give Heliod's static ability. It only gives the activated abilities. So they drew Blast Zone. They tap Blast Zone, not even going to consider sacrificing it this turn or putting counters on it. That's likely a mistake. Also, we can pump Esper Sentinel's power in response to... I think it's just double block. Yeah, let's double block. And if they order the Ranger-Captain first, I can just spend 4 mana, put a counter on it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. It doesn't already have a counter on it. Oops. I'll just Binding then. I don't know why I thought I could have had the ability. I think it's because the other Ranger-Captain had the ability. Alright, let's get in. Is the One Ring instead of Coco? Well, we have the One Ring, so we get to play Solitude, Leyline Binding, and Cauldron really easily. Like, if you play Coco, you like, kind of can't play almost... You can play one of those cards and none of the rest, and then your Cocos are still worse. So, it is a little bit more complicated than just no Coco. Also, like, Coco is one of these, like, really obnoxious cards when you stream that, like, people just want... Any creature deck, any deck that has historically played any number of company, people kind of lose their minds when you don't have it in your deck. People are like, you don't have it? Where is it? Where's the collected company? But company's also like, you know, a worse card than the Ring in general. Like maybe in the Heliod, maybe in creature combo decks is like, you know, the exception, but overall not as good a card. Okay, so there's an Idyllic Grange. Can also Solitude this turn. I think I'll basically always be... Ideally, I'd like to just present lethal here without tapping any mana, which I think I can do. Yeah, so I get to attack them for 6, but with 2 counters, so that'll be lethal. My opponent, if my opponent sacks Blast Zone, I can spend 4 mana, put a counter on Ballista, remove this counter from the Sentinel, and then ping them post combat. I will say Cauldron looking pretty sweet in the list so far. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. I think that should probably be the Ballista. So they've got 1 card in their hand. They're down to 3. Got a 3-power creature in play. It is funny. Your Ballista's just like, you just don't really care if they die if you have Cauldron in play. No, I don't know how they could possibly win where they're at 1 and every time any creature is just gonna be a, it's just gonna be a Ballista. Murderous Cut. So I guess if they have Murderous Cut exactly. Oh, but now Idyllic Grange even lets me play around that. Because I can just Grange up a counter in response if they do. You soothe my soul and tell me Elves just to play with Modern. Coco's a good card. Well, I haven't played Coco and Elves in a long time. I really prefer Tyvar plus Court of Calling. Also, the last time I played Elves, I did 5-0. I wouldn't recommend playing Elves right now, but last time I played at 5-0, you know, you can register the deck. Okay, so I want to bring in my Sanctifiers against the mono black deck. I think Reprieve may be good against them since we think that they're on... We think they're on Besiege. Reprieve is kind of nice against Besiege. They sack the thing and then you put it back in the hand. Can even see what they get first. Put that back in the hand if you want to. I'm not sure. I think I want the second Haywire Mite, not the third. And I am bringing in a lot of cards here, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to bring in the Reprieves. I think Binding is potentially a card we can trim on. Or, sorry, Solitude is a card. The removal, Solitude and or Binding. I think down on at least 1 Solitude is probably correct. Maybe not more. Could be another matchup where you want to be less in on the combo. I think that's like another nice thing about this build is like you're mono white mid-range that has access to an infinite combo that you just don't have to be that in on. Kind of feel like just cutting 2 of each piece. Maybe we can go with that direction this time. Could try something else, but this kind of looks okay. Yeah, Solitude being an evoke creature, creature in the graveyard for Cauldron's nice in general, especially with Sentinel being able to go Sentinel, Cauldron, evoke, counter on Sentinel sometimes. Alright, let's mulligan this. But it's also in a mold of 6. We have a great hand. I think I don't know if I should put back Sentinel or Giver. Maybe I should put back Sentinel because of Bowmasters. Cauldron Elves. That doesn't sound like it does anything. I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be doing. Mangara with Cauldron? That's Mangara or like Fulminator with Cauldron, something on the to-do list for sure. I do think I like just using Ballista to kill a construct here. Don't mind so much with Ballista going into the yard. Like in the old version, like you really didn't want to lose your Ballista because then you couldn't combo. Now with Cauldron, you'll just Cauldron it back eventually. These constructs can be like bigger than my Sanctifier, but if I just kill this construct, then it's at least just a 2/2. And then if I draw another Grange, which I have a million Granges in my deck, I can turn this into a 3/3. Ooh, Zerda Cauldron sounds awesome. I love Zerda. Giving Nettle Sentinel ability, Nettle Sentinel tap ability could be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. At the very least, like that's the start. That is the start of an idea. That is the start of an idea. Cauldron elves. It's not an idea that has been fleshed out, but it is one that we could flesh out potentially. Let's see how focused my opponent is today. They seem to be focused enough. Caleb had a Cauldron list with Kiki Scales combo. Man, Caleb always comes up with the coolest stuff. We will definitely be doing a lot of Cauldron brewing. We are. The Cauldron, you know, I was hesitant on it at first, skeptical that it would. I thought it would be a bit win more. I was, I think, pretty quickly proven wrong, and which is great. I love to be wrong when I think cards are not going to be that good, because then I have good new cards to play test. It is the best thing to be wrong about. Seems like a good turn to get another counter on the Sanctifier. We can Binding next turn off the Triome if we want to. Just Haywire Mite this Springleaf Drum. Also just like turning Sanctifier into a 4/4 is so gross against these mono black and black red decks. They're already like light on ways to answer it, and when all of a sudden it's dealing twice as much damage, it's pretty obnoxious for them. Get to gain a little bit of life here too. Sometimes you can also just lifelink your Sanctifier, and they can never beat that either. Although maybe my opponent can never win because they are just playing. You know, they're playing Courser's Accord in their deck. Worse than Courser's Accord? I guess not. Okay, we can attack through the Turok with the Sanctifier still. Do you think I'm going to Heliod, lifelink? I kind of even... Oh, wait, sorry, I'm out of Granges, so I guess we can go for Giver to attack with the Ranger-Captain. We got the voted Heliod online, too. I think one of the few ways we could lose is, like, a surprise Bowmaster in response to a ring, so let's just make sure our life total is nice and high. So now, man, when Sanctifier en-Vec is your Walking Ballista, that's kind of crazy. Like, this is so annoying for them. I have an indestructible enchantment. I have a pro-black Sanctifier. I have an artifact. Like, they just, like, no amount of creature. And I have Giver. It's just like, what could they possibly have? Ever played Death in Texas? I have. Okay, I'll keep this one. I usually like to put back Solitude on these mulligans. The Mite is a little sus to keep, but you know, if it's never good, why is it in the deck, you know? Good draw. How good do you think Burn is at the moment? Burn's worse than it was like a month ago, 2 months ago, where Murktide and Hammer are creeping back up in the metagame in a way that for a little while they were... Ooh, wow. Man, the Mite is insane here. For a little while, it seemed like they were shrinking in popularity. But I would still say it's a playable deck. You had a breeding pool or a Triumph. I think I added a breeding pool, but you should be able to find the deck in the... You should be able to find the deck in the stream decker, David. There are some, the box field. They're all in the box field. What's the meta call for protecting your cauldron so people start bringing in more artifact destruction down the road? People ask this all the time. Spike, what do you do against artifact tape for your artifacts? I don't know. I don't know. I've never been able to answer that question. I've never been able to answer that question. What do I say? I don't know. Surge, I don't know. The answer is probably like in this kind of deck you just have a lot of card draw, right? You just have a lot of card draw, so if your opponent is 1-for-1ing your cauldron, just let them, you know. Keep playing. Witness back a Misty. Okay. So we can't attack this turn. I don't think I'm going to 0/0 Ballista. I'm going to main phase this activation, even though I could potentially exile something that they could get like Ephemerate Witness back. You just really want to get that second counter on the Esper Sentinel. It's just so annoying for decks like this. Is Mite the most expensive uncommon in Modern? I don't know. How much is it? Main phase, fetch a Triome. Second main phase, cast a Leyline Binding. Maybe I could have kept the green up instead of playing the Giver. They're going after Cauldron. I guess that's okay with me. I guess that's okay. I mean, I'm a big believer, especially with the Giver runes to protect the Sentinel up now. Let's just continue to go in. I think I will also play Ballista X equals 2. We can activate Ballista, fetch another Grange next turn maybe. Probably don't need the Sentinel to be much bigger than 3/3, but like Sentinel mostly says if our opponent's casting a non-creature spell, we're drawing a card here. I guess, you know, maybe not Binding, but we're okay with Bindings cost 4 mana. That's a pretty fair rate. Wait, Cabal Coffers is an uncommon? That's crazy. Solitude, maybe? Bring to Light. Well, maybe we'll get to draw 2 cards. Are they going to get Valky? What? Verdict, I guess? I think it's Verdict, yeah. Okay, so let's ping them. Sorry, I don't know why. It's always just one. Sorry. I think I played Giver. Kind of punished. I think I'm getting a Triome here. Okay, could cycle that. But they fetch end of turn. We can respond to that. Yeah, 3 cards still in their hand. 3 cards. Do I fetch my Grange now? I think so. I want to thin a little bit, and I'm going to be Granging this Solitude basically no matter what, so might as well. It's 3/3 Ballista. The life total's back up to being pretty high. Seems also somewhat likely they could have like just a counterspell in their hand. Like they don't have a Sweeper, or I think they would have cast Verdict if they had it. They don't have another Omnath. They don't have a Ring. They don't have a Bring to Light. So they probably have counterspells. Maybe just cycle this here. Okay, then I can maybe Binding the Binding on their upkeep. No, I want to be able to Binding a Ring if they draw a Ring. I don't know if they're playing Ring, or I might Binding a Beanstalk. Another Bring to Light? Oh, just hardcast Tybalt. Well, interesting. So let's see what they exile. They exile a Prismatic Ending on their end and a Ranger-Captain on my end. So by Binding their Binding, up to 5 counters. Yeah, I mean, can I just kill them, actually? Okay, they're Prismatic Ending my Giver. I might be able to kill them. Okay, so I go Binding the Binding, counter on Sentinel, Solitude. It's a Ballista now. Then I put another one on it, and I attack them for 6, down to 6. This will have 3 counters, so they're at 3, and then I Ballista X equals 3. Looks like lethal to me. They have Solitude white card, you know. GG. I guess I could have done this in response, but it's better to do this in response because if they have Solitude white card, then I can protect the Solitude still. So we're at 6. We have 6 damage. GG. Making it look easy. Okay, so let's get most of the Solitudes out of here, I think. I want 1 or 0. They're all playing on math, maybe even 2. I'm just thinking, do I want Reprieve? Reprieve, like, bouncing Verdict is so cool. It's kind of hard for them to play around it, too. Let's try to get these in. Another interactive matchup, another time. I think you could go down on Heliod's again. Just like the Splinter Twin decks of yore. Maybe it's something like this. 3 Ballistas. Ballista seems okay. Don't really want to draw 2 copies early. Yeah, Mite is a Ranger-Captain target, but yeah, usually you see it just off Saga. The main deck Mite's been pretty good. Maybe we cut all the Ballistas. Like, how do we ever Heliod combo against them? Heliod seems so bad against them. Trim Ring, they're a binding deck? What? They're a binding. I can't imagine that it's correct to Trim Ring against them. They put no pressure on your life total. They like if they go Verdict, like your best follow up is like always the ring. You can binding their bindings. We have like 7 answers to their bindings for our rings. I can't imagine that that's correct. But also like trim a card because they have removal for your card. Like binding is gonna be good, you know. It's binding. Although I don't know, we have so many answers to it too. I'm gonna submit like this. I think this looks good. Double Sentinel against control. Keep. I just would keep Heliod. Yeah, it's just like you're just like never comboing against them. I think, like even more so than you're never comboing in the other matchups we played today. It just isn't gonna happen often enough. Nate Ram with the 10. Thank you. Strike my Esper Sentinel down, and another will take its place. As compared to other Ballista decks, I mean, Scales is like really busted. This deck is, I mean, I think this deck is good. Like, I had a mono white Heliod list that was relatively different. Like, I was playing cards that are kind of out of date now, like Thalia and Luminarch Aspirant. Those are 2 cards that are very, very rough in the Bowmaster metagame. Sentinel's rougher, of course. Sentinel's like, you know, higher quality and, you know, 1 mana instead of 2 mana. But it was still like this mono white shell, and like the things I really felt like the deck was missing was like a really powerful combo enabler like Agatha's Cauldron, and I really feel like the deck was also missing a card advantage engine, and now you just have Ring and Cauldron. So pretty excited about this. They don't kill my Sentinel, which is probably just a mistake. I don't know. Maybe they have a Supreme Verdict. I think I should get Mite, maybe? Is that or another Sentinel? Let's get a Mite. Consider going up to 4 Cauldron since it's been very good so often. Well, it is a legendary artifact. I did have 4 in like one of my earlier drafts, and you really don't want to draw 2 that often, but you do want to draw it. I don't know. Like, the Ring is a legendary artifact that is good in multiples. The Cauldron doesn't really share that dynamic. So if they have Verdicts, we get to draw a card, and maybe we can draw a land and just slam a Ring. Well, we did talk about this scenario a moment ago. They verdict and you just untap and play a ring. It's also, I think, a pretty nice situation for that plan because we have an answer to a possible binding now. Gotta be a little bit scared of this Ren and 6 though. So they're gonna binding my ring probably. Even verdict, do not kill Sentinel. I would almost always minus on Sentinel in that spot, I think. Were I them. I'm gonna do this first. We're basically always gonna make a 2/2 Sentinel here, so I think just doing it first is fine. Drawing nothing sucks. I don't like that. I really don't like that. I can't even play the Mite. Dang. Just have infinite cards that do stuff here. Can you play Mite before tapping ring? The thing is, I think you want them to just binding it, then you still get to draw one card, then you can Mite the binding and still draw two. It's the same number of cards. I guess one less card the following turn. I don't even have another white card to pitch to the Solitude. Oh, I guess they have to Fairy though, but... Yeah, it's kind of funny. Everyone this morning was like, cut Sentinel. Sentinel's bad, Bowmaster meta. I don't know, but like it's so Sentinel is so crazy in this deck. You can never cut it, I think. Should be one of a Myriad deck because in case you just can't have any land. You can't have any land in your deck that's not a plains. It's just not feasible. My opponent's just not bouncing my ring, which has got to be a mistake. Drew another land. Now I've drawn some action. A lot of possibilities here. I think binding the Teferi is something I might like to do, or maybe binding the Ren. No, that's to be Teferi, I think. I can be pinging the Ren down with my Ballista. So binding is going to cost me 2 mana if I fetch a Triome. So then I'll have 3 mana left. Were you playing binding in a white deck? You don't like Leyline Binding? This card's sick. We already want to be playing a million fetch lands because of Idyllic Grange. Like we already want to play infinite fetch lands. What's the problem? Let's lead on Solitude, I think. We cast it for 4 mana last game? Yeah, we're gonna cast it for 2 mana this game. I don't... We're also like crushing so far this league. I don't know. This also happened last time I played the Heliod archetype. Is like we're doing really, really well with it, and like consistently well with it, and like but like despite that, people were still like I think hating on it big time, which always confused me. I think I may just play my hand here since I really want to stop the Ren from ultimating. If they minus, then that's going to be okay with me. Interesting. Post-Bover Scam, you were supposed to keep the combo in. I cut it and we won. I don't know. Seems like you just have all these. Your deck is just mono good cards against them without the combo. You have Ring, Sanctifier, Antonize, Binding, Solitude. You know, like you kind of don't have too many weak cards, and so like I think that means one of the most likely ways you could lose a game against them is by having your combo and having, you know, just not being able to and having them be able to pick that apart, and you draw like a Heliod that's really slow. Although I think I kept something against like the mono black list. You'll want to do a few different things, I think. Stranglegeist with Ballista and Cauldron, or is that another deck? Yeah, Stranglegeist Ballista Cauldron is another deck. That deck is Yawgmoth. You can play a Ballista Yawgmoth. It's something I think I think Mason Clark was talking about yesterday. Two life's nice here. My opponent is just not bouncing my ring. They've just... I mean, I think, you know, we're probably going to win this game, but likely winning this game on the back of my opponent misplaying pretty bad, I think. I don't know, maybe we lose. Could I, should I... Should I sack my Ranger-Captain? I don't think so. I can sack it in response to a Bring to Light. No, they're like Bring to Light control. It's like the big Windswept deck, I think. Sawa Tarek, thank you for the raid. Hope I said your name correctly. Hope you're doing well today. Welcome, everybody. Interesting. I think we just ping the Teferi 3 times. No, Amara, you need every land to be a plains. They have 3 cards in their hands. Who would draw more cards? 4-color Omnath Control, Mono White Heliod. We've drawn 10 more cards in them this game, or we're 10 cards deeper. Okay, so let's try to get this Heliod off, or the fairy off the table. Since we've drawn Reprieve. That's fine. So if I'm going to Binding, I need to Binding Ren, I think. Let's play another ring. I'll draw a card. We have a million fetches we could just discard here. Getting our Triome seems okay. Just playing a plane seems also okay. I think I'm gonna be somewhat locked in on binding the Ren 6 here because I don't want them to keep Besageing me. So if that's my whole turn, I think I just get the Triome. No more fetchables, no more Besageable targets either. I guess they could just bounce the Binding with the Teferi, but then that unlocks my Reprieve at least. We might have a problem closing this game, I'm not sure. So game 3. Could be a good argument for 4th Ballista deck. We also haven't drawn a Cauldron. Cauldron would be nice. Mite is nice also. Wow, okay. I guess all the good cards were still in our deck, huh? So let's go cast Cauldron. Cast Haywire Mite. Counterspell. So now I think I'm binding their Ren 6. Solitude their Solitude. They're going to Besage you something end of turn. We'll see what that something is. It's the Binding. So this will resolve. I have no more fetchables. Then I can Soul Cauldron, Haywire Mite. Binding the Binding. Then they just bounce my Binding, and then they Besage my Cauldron. But I don't know that I've got really like a much better line than this. Yeah, there's a Teferi in play. We cannot cast Reprieve. Okay, I do still have 2 more Cauldrons in the deck, right? I didn't cite any out this time. Yeah. So if we can draw another Cauldron, put a counter on Solitude, we can kill both Planeswalkers this turn. Have to be somewhat mindful about decking ourselves. Have to be somewhat mindful about wrecking ourselves. We did draw a Ranger-Captain for a Ballista. Fuck. Okay, so I guess attack Teferi, gain 3, kind of big. Binding Rin in 6. Play Plains. Play Giver, and then hold up triple Reprieve. Yeah, 13 cards left in our deck. We're mindful of that here. I might even not immediately tap the ring. I mean, I could draw 4 more, then play another ring. Yeah, let's. I want to draw a Cauldron pretty badly, so, and we have a couple Cauldrons left. So first things first, though, I think I just want to get new ring. Spike, you thought about Thassa's Oracle in your mono white Heliod deck? I think I'm scared of playing my Sentinel because they'll just like maybe deck me. So I think I just don't play it. These fetches are dead. I don't have really much reason to play them. They know I don't have any fetchables. I didn't like use Besage's ability. Yeah, Cauldron's awesome. What is in their hand? They just cast a lore and revealed, so certainly you would expect them to have something here. They play a land. You'd expect them to have at least one of those in their hand. But it still does nothing. Okay, Crop with a 29. Hope you're doing well. Quad Reprieve up. Yeah, I really can't play the Sentinel now if I want to cast these Reprieves. Okay. Your turn. Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to play Mistral Plains. But it's giving us the GGs. Weird game. 3-0. Deck's looking good. Although we've had opponents stumble in. We've had them misplay in too. Walking Solitude. Whatever the 4-mana creature is. We've had a lot of opponents mull to 5, although if this is Tron, we are a little bit light on Tron hate. Can Cauldron substitute as Graveyard Hate versus Living in a Murktide? I mean, it can do some things in those matchups, but it is not going to beat either deck just by being Graveyard Hate. Yeah, Crackdown Construct. Yeah, so yeah, I heard that Caleb was messing around with Cauldron and Kiki Jiki. I kind of want to try to play that in the Aether Vial Kiki Jiki deck we had. Which I can never remember the name of. Is it like just Kiki Vial? Is it like Charge Counter Kiki? I think it's Charge Counter Kiki. Yeah, this deck was awesome. And like Urza, and like, yeah, I kind of want to try to fit Imri and Cauldron into this build. Oh, Blooming Marsh. get a Triome here. Did we finish 3-2 yesterday? Yes. Yeah, we did have back-to-back 3-2s. What about Trinket Mage? It's just slow and awful on prop mostly, but I don't know. We're adding a lot of new cards too. It's hard to like also add Trinket Mage. We did consider last time. It wasn't a card that I remember really wanting last time either. Yeah, Cauldron Fulminator is definitely on the list of things to experiment on. Yeah, the 2 mana value, like Treasure Mage, too, these cards are just so slow. And, like, these cards also that are, like, Sorcery Speed, reveal a card, tutor it. It's, like, they're very easy to play around as well, so. Not things I'm super excited about. So they don't have a Bowmaster in their hand. It's good news. And we have triple Solitude with the ring going. It's also good news. What's this Emery Cauldron next? This is an old brew. The idea is that you're trying to put a lot of charge. You're like putting charge counters on your Aether Vial, so you can Vial in Urza and Kiki-Jiki really quickly. You're putting charge counters on it with Power Conduit and Core Tapper. But you also have a Surge Node you can get off Saga. You can also get Vial off your Saga. And then you can go, like, you have some really cool turns where you Vial in Corridor Monitor, untap your Aether Vial, then put more charge counters on it, then Vial in Kiki-Jiki. So I think we would likely be, like, going down to, like, one Spellskite, I'm not really sure how it is. We're fitting Imri and Cauldron in. Maybe we're cutting the Cornucopias, and we, like, just, like, mostly don't keep hands without Vial, but it's also pretty fragile Vial. But, okay, we are 3-0. We definitely have had a lot of opponents, like, stumble a lot this league, just for full transparency here. Maybe we could have played this first. But I'm just going to Solitude Bowmaster when they Bowmaster, Chord for Bowmaster, whatever. Yeah, Spellskite's also probably good in the deck. There's a lot of moving pieces, and the deck is already rather full, so let's, you know, maybe just we'll think a bit more about it. Hug Heist with the 10 months, thank you. Manamo, yeah, Manamo should probably be in that deck. Manamo plus Cauldron is something too, for sure. Okay, Nice in. Mite out. Sentinel's out. We're maybe missing a couple sideboard cards for this matchup. Although Cauldron is really good against Heliod. You can steal their abilities and stuff. I'm gonna just play your Reprieve. It seems fine. Aether Call at 31. Thank you. You're doing well. What is Kiki-Jiki copies Corridor Monitor as your, like, Deceiver Exarch. Monitor is really nice. It's like, it can untap your Power Conduit for value. You can untap Aether Vial for value. And it's, you know, it's a 2 mana 1/4 instead of a 3 mana 1/4. What about Sanctifier? I mean, Sanctifier is really, really bad against them. It's mostly just a 2 mana 2/2. The Exile text is not relevant at all, and they have infinite green creatures that block it. They just don't play Giralf's Messenger anymore. If they did play Messenger, you could consider it. Well, definitely gonna hand we're gonna keep against Yogg. They kept 7/7 this time. How about Golos Tron with Cauldron, so you can tap your Tron lands for Golos and your turn to Golos. I mean, that's the start of an idea. For the most part, you know, you're gonna have to flesh that up more, but that is the start of an idea for sure. Turn 2 Grist on the play, huh? Might have a Reprieve? I think I'm just gonna go Giver, get a Triome this turn. Having double Giver is pretty good, of course. Is there any chance the One Ring is correct in time civ food? I mean, I've tried to mess around with it a little bit. I haven't really liked it. This is fine, I think. So am I always gonna binding here? I think I just hold up Reprieve, actually. I'm okay if they just get one more token, if I get to Reprieve like a 4-mana play. Have Goblin Junior put ghosts in the yard? Yeah, but then you have to, like, trash for treasure. I mean, it is the start of an idea for sure. You just have to work on it some. But you definitely have the start of an interesting idea. I agree with that. The start of something new. Okay, so I don't want a binding and just let them like chord for Mite immediately. Yeah, I'm just gonna, I want them to like, if they're gonna chord end of turn, I get to Reprieve it. And then binding on their upkeep or something. No YouTube today? I don't know if there's YouTube today. My editor is getting married, and so I know he's kind of busy at the moment. I told him to take as much time off as he needs, so there may not be YouTube uploads for a while. There might be. He didn't really get back to me on how much time he's taken off, but I think some. Congrats to Gloom on the wedding. Hooray! I was thinking about playing Ranger-Captain first so I could get a counter on it with Grange, but then they just get to put 2 counters on it, so it seems not worth it. I say, get to work, Gloom! You think you can take time off for your wedding? I need YouTube content! Although I think he's probably not taking it off yet. At least, whatever, who cares? These people will just have to watch the stream, oh no. They shock Overgrown teams. They have push in their hand, huh? What matchups do you want Heliod post-board? This was one of them. And for the most part, you want them against non-linear decks, and or against linear decks and want to trim against linear strategies, just like Twin Combo back in the days of yore. Sorry for saying days of yore so many times in one stream. So we'll see if they Fatal Push my Ranger-Captain. If they do, I might play Ballista instead of Heliod here. They don't, so let's... I guess they could also have Besage, but they would have already Besaged, right? Because they shocked in this Overgrown Tomb. Sometimes players can bluff by shocking in permanents. With Yawgmoth, it's like never a bluff. So I think they're going to push here to keep me off Devotion. I think that's going to be the conclusion they come to. And then any Idyllic Range can let me combo next turn. We've got a lot of those in the deck. I'm from UK, so it's hard for me to get Burrenton times. And how long is the Super League stuff? So yeah, I'm in the Super League today. I need to be in a call with them in 3.5 hours. Right? It's 2 p.m. my time. 3.5 hours. And then it'll be 1 hour after that it'll start. So it should start in 4.5 hours from now. Or 4 hours, 22 minutes. 24 minutes, whatever. So I could just sack this if I draw the Grange. Okay, I drew the Grange, so... We might as well attack first. It is live. It's going to be streamed on twitch.tv/anzidmtg. You can... Although I found out yesterday I was saying it wrong. But I didn't actually figure out how it was... What it was I was mispronouncing. About Honorog's channel. Someone can type that in chat. That'd be awesome. Give it a follow. The people in my pod are Reed, Gavin, and Carolyn. I don't know Gavin's last name. Carolyn Party, Reed Duke, and me and Gavin. Gavin works for Wizards, I'm pretty sure. It's ANZD. I think that is what they said, that it was ANZD. Oh, they exile Heliod. Okay, good play. Heads up. So let's play Ballista this turn so we can get our counter on it. Gavin Verhey. I think so. I think that's the Gavin. I'm like loosely familiar that Gavin works for Wizards. I'm not super familiar with Gavin, but I'm sure Gavin's great. Maybe we'll get to know each other tonight. Second most dumb person to watch the after tomorrow. There's a lot. It's a big Magic community. You just can't know everybody. I'm sure Gavin is awesome. Gavin invented Modern? Thank you, Gavin, for inventing Modern. We love you for that. Yeah, like, I know of Gavin, you know what I mean? I know of Gavin, I'm just not super familiar. We've never had a chat or anything. But I know of Gavin. I could identify Gavin in a police lineup. If Gavin was ever, like, charged with the crime of unbanning Splinter Twin, I could probably identify it was him, Your Honor. He ruined Modern unbanning Splinter Twin. Yeah, we need to put pressure on their life total here. I think I'm supposed to Cauldron. We like Twin. I like Twin too. Like, again, we're committed. I think of something funny to say. All right, so they're basically at 2 because I can ping them once. You didn't do it? That sounds exactly like something the person who banned Twin would say. Wait, are you actually the Gavin? Gavin MTG. Sub for 27 months. Let's go. But I do think if I wasn't the Gavin and my username was Gavin MTG, I would probably take this opportunity to impersonate Gavin. They might, like, just not play around this, since a lot of people kind of fuck up playing against Cauldron. Oh, do you think a Yogg player would know how to play against Cauldron? Oh, I lost the counter! I lost the counter! Awesome! I don't know how to play it. I lost the counter. That's so cool. Although we love when a Yawgmoth player gets down to 1. Hello, it's me, Gavin Verhey, Psycho's famous person at WotC. I think you are, actually. Either way, I'm excited to get to know Gavin better and thank him for inventing Modern and then arrest him for banning Splinter Twin. Alright, GG. We're 4-0. It's exciting. Let's get a... What do we do? I guess we just put back Ring. I would love to have a Ring in this hand, though. I would just love to keep 7. But we're curving out and in theory drawing some cards, so I think we just keep this. I'm gonna get Temple Garden here, just in case. For up against Burn or get punished. Get rewarded for up against a deck where Mite is relevant, or we draw Binding early. This should be a relevant Mite matchup. Any thoughts on the new Disney? I don't have any thoughts on Lorcana yet. Like, I hope that it's good, and I may play it at some point. I may not play it. I really like to play Magic. I spend most of my days playing Magic. I like to play Marvel Snap. Marvel Snap is really fun. I play a lot of D&D and Pathfinder. I don't know if I have room in my heart at the moment to get into another game, but if I was going to get into another game, I think Lorcana could be that. All right, Pure Steel Pally. I'm definitely sacking this Ranger Captain in their upkeep. What are they gonna? What the hell are they gonna do? I'll tell you what you're gonna do. Cast some creatures, maybe, I guess, but you're not casting any hammers. And then I could do it again next turn too. I can just can put a counter here. Although, I can't win next turn. Yeah, I haven't played Armored Core. I think I'm gonna do a second playthrough of Baldur's Gate before I get into Armored Core. I want to like do all the stuff I missed. I've also started a multiplayer playthrough with some friends where we've all been playing through the game solo, so we're mostly just like blazing through it, like not really talking to anybody. But we've built characters that we've played in past D&D campaigns and stuff. Like I'm playing my first ever D&D character as the character in the campaign, which has been pretty fun. If we could discard Heliod, we'd win. No, people can. You have to have Heliod in play. You can't. Wait, I thought I had a different art Heliods. You have to have it in play. It doesn't copy the static ability. It only copies the activated abilities. So how are we doing against a Surge of Salvation? Pretty bad. Bad enough that I want to like not make the first move here, I think. You can win next turn, assuming no interaction. Yeah, I can. I'm gonna go for it in my opponent's instep, but I don't really want to make the first move here because of Surge of Salvation. You can ping a response to Surge. Well, they just Surge in response to Lifelink. If I go Lifelink and then they Surge, then... Okay, I'm reading a card. Equipped creature has flying. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. Hammer players, stop brewing! Hammer players, stop brewing! You've cooked too much. You have cooked too much. Overcooked. I think we still just chill here. Activating boss concede to the Ballista. Let's go. You have cooked too much. I don't know what to say. Bringing in the Anthonices a lot. I can get Sentinel and cut or cut the Sentinels and cut a Heliod. That's kind of my first instinct. It could be good to cut the Ranger Captains. They were really good that game when they can find Haywire Mite, they can find the combo, but in general they are like pretty slow. Ring is good, Cauldron's good. I even like keeping Sentinel in. Like you can pump it, which gets a lot better in this matchup. It's lower on the curve on the draw. You can turn it into a Haywire Mite and sack it as a cheap creature. Yeah, I don't know. I think I even though like we're bringing in Ranger Captain tutor targets, Ranger Captain especially on the draw is just such a weak play. I think that this is just the weak link. This looks good to me. They were just like mono white control with Heliod combo as a finisher. I do think I want access to the combo. Cut Giver since they don't play much removal. Well, they can bring in removal. Sometimes it just blanks their stuff. Maybe Giver is bad though. Oh yeah, we need the Giant Killer. Thank you. No, yeah, I think you're right. This looks a lot better. Yeah, Giver lets us block, but it's just. If they have enough trample and like protection stuff, I think you probably just don't want it. It is, you know, like it is a 1-mana creature, and so like you could turn it into a Haywire Mite stuff too, but yeah, Menino Day is great. It's kind of the hand I was worried about with all these Ranger Captains, I guess. Hand's so slow. Can maybe keep. We can turn 2 Ballista, turn 3 Ranger Captain, turn 4 Grange onto Ballista, get Mite Sack. Play 4 Heliod. Isn't the combo quite good against them? I don't know that the combo is quite good against them. It's much slower than their combo. It seems okay. I think trimming 1 is pretty reasonable. Alright, let's keep this on the ball to 6. Consider WotC makes Chromox legal. They won't consider that. Exile this, so they have to have another 0 to make a construct. Do you think it's smart to board out Cauldron and Scales versus blue-white with lots of exile removal? You could trim one. I would have at least one in my deck post-board against blue-white. It's still going to be good against them, though. But blue-white is also like a buy as Scales, so don't worry about it too much. They brought in Pending. They are they gonna do anything else with their 2 mana? They're gonna equip. Funny game. Ever Solitude? I think you want to just draw and like see if you want to Solitude. You don't care that much about them gaining 1 more life. But I probably would have, yeah. It's like pre-solituding the construct. Weird game. Yeah, quite the fight over an Ornithopter. I like that my opponent seems stumped on what to get here too. I guess you're just not supposed to cast the Ornithopter, right? You're supposed to play it next turn if you can help it, just so you don't walk into this exact situation. Let you board out captains. Yeah, I decided that we talked about givers being a weaker link than captains, so we ended up cutting them instead. Gingy. 2 cards in their hand. Giver, pretty good here. We got 1 card left. You know, I think we're doing all right. Alright, let's focus on some mana efficiency here, I think. They have no cards in their hand. They've also tapped incorrectly, I think. I would imagine that you'd really want to... I think you'd want to sack Silent Clearing over deal me 2 infect damage, but whatever. Maybe I'm missing something. So remember Agatha's Cauldron fixes for Haywire Mite. No room for ephemeral deck. I mean, I think the list is pretty tight. I'll say this happens a lot on this channel, but there have been, a lot of, suggestions for cards to add. There have been almost no, like, Spike, we should cut this card. The only card that people have really been suggesting cutting is Esper Sentinel, but you can never cut Sentinel in your Idyllic Grange deck, I think. So I would love to hear suggestions for what you might like to cut. At the moment, I don't really think that there is a room for Ephemerate, nor do we really have enough creatures for Ephemerate. Like, Ephemerate is like good with Captain, it's good with Solitude. You need like a little bit more. Right, I'm not missing any. I don't think I'm missing a creature. The rings have been really good in this deck too. Dang, we really needed them to brick this turn. We're not dead though, because they can't unblockable their Ink Moth, but they can trample it. So this will be 11, 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. Yeah, I am dead actually. Dang. Game 3. Why would an Idyllic Grange deck need Sentinel? Because the 2 cards play super well together. It may just not be super obvious, but a 2/2 as... Oh wait, no, I can survive. I can live. I can put a counter on the Ranger-Captain. No, I'm alive. But barely. A 2/2 Esper Sentinel is much better than a 1/1 Esper Sentinel, but a 1/1 Esper Sentinel is already a good card. Esper Sentinel is a really good card, and it's every single counter it gets, it just becomes so much stronger. Oh, okay, we're still... Actually, I miscounted, I guess. Game 3. After all. Yeah, the Inkbot Nexus attack did pay off there. On the play, does anything change? I think Ranger-Captain does get better on the play. I think we'll go down to just 2 Heliods. Could draw into we can like control ring, find Heliod combo after that. I think that's a reasonable plan. Okay, we'll keep this. I don't think I need to get Temple Garden since this is a green source for Domain, and Cauldron fixes for Haywire Mite if we do some, for some reason, like, not, just draw on untap lands. Doesn't Sentinel normally die to Bowmaster for good trigger Grange? Yeah, not every turn of every game involves Orcish Bowmaster. But like Sentinel is worse because of Bowmaster. It is still one of the best 1-mana creatures ever printed, and is better in this deck than it is in most decks too. Let's play it. Let's maybe sometimes play around Orcish Bowmaster. Let's maybe sometimes get 2 for 1, and so we can still play this phenomenally good card, you know. So we are, I think, hoping that my opponent doesn't have a hammer and that they're trying to get their hammer off the Saga. It is nice if we can assemble Cauldron plus Haywire Mite, turning everything into a Haywire Mite. Interesting. This was hard to play around. They name Haywire Mite. They play a Ginger Brute. Which is bad because I was really hoping to be able to block with my Haywire Mite and then start Soul Cauldroning. It's pretty unfortunate, like, kind of combo of random cards here. I would have expected the Cauldron. I mean, I just tutored Haywire Mite. That seems pretty reasonable. Ever blocking with Ranger-Captain here? No, I don't think attacking matters very much. Or not very often, but I don't think attacking matters very much. Can they really afford to attack into the Mite? I mean, they don't have to. They can just unblockable Ginger Brew. I've mostly just played the cards in my hand here, I think. I could have maybe cycled Triome. I think getting this stuff on board and hoping to top deck well is a better line. But yeah, I don't know. I've mostly just played the cards in my hand. I could sack the Ranger-Captain and put a counter on Sentinel. I think they'll probably just give me a card here, though. If they pay 2, I guess maybe they have a harder time activating Mite. Holy shit, holy shit, they're punting. Please, 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 please. Damn. Well, oh, huge. Huge draw. This is fine, kinda. Yeah, they still can't attack. Another big draw. There's a Pithing Needle on Mite, though. Yeah, I'm gonna be playing Ballista on 0, but unless I drew a land, then I'd be playing Ballista on 1, sack it, then Ballista on 0. Oh, I can ping my own Mite too. It's pretty big. I think I want playing the ring is so safe here too, and what's another nice thing is I can kill the Paladin, and so if this is just on the Esper Sentinel, not, you know, drawing a lot of cards, this is also kind of fine. But we also just get to chill here since we have pro everything. Could attack for 1 also, although maybe not with the Relic in play. Be a good game. Probably play this in the challenge this weekend. So they're giving me a card. Pretty good card. Let's not give them a card. Shouldn't you keep out of main phase? Why? We can put we beat a removal spell or a protection spell at the Paladin. We have, you know, 3 pings. Still need to do anything yet. Yeah, we'll play Single League with this today. So one problem with the Killer Mite line is that the Relic is untapped. They can pop the Relic. Yeah, the Killer on Mite is definitely aware of the line, but into the Relic it is not currently going to be enough. Worst case scenario, I'm just going to ring and draw a bunch of cards. This is one of the better case scenarios. So I think I just start off. Oh, I cycled my Triome this game. I guess it's kind of the same though. Oh no, I can't. My binding's always going to cost 3. Dang. Okay, so can at the very least get another counter. It's probably a good spot to sack my Ranger-Captain. It's just, I think there is a reasonable enough chance my opponent has a protection spell that sacking the Ranger-Captain's good here. And then if this works, I can either force the Relic sack, or I can get into a spot where I have a you know, Ballista. Okay, so this is interesting. Now I can set up for the Haywire Mite plan, or I could just sack here. Yeah, let's just let this resolve. You can put a counter on Mite and sack it to Ranger-Captain ability. That is cool. Yeah, that's a cool line, Mr. Sari. So now let's go play this Esper Sentinel. Ping my Haywire Mite. Exile Mite. Counter on the Sentinel. While I still have Ranger-Captain up. Activate on the Hammer. And we can pay white since we have the Cauldron in play. Fixes for our colors there. And then I think I just hold up Binding / Sentinel activation. I don't really feel like I need to respond or do anything yet. I can do both, but I can't pay for Sentinel. Yeah, so Haywire Mite is named, but this doesn't. Esper Sentinel's name is not Haywire Mite, it's Esper Sentinel. We're talking about sacking Needle as Ranger-Captain. So I mean, so no, you can. Oh yeah, so yeah, you can't. That's right. Yeah, you can't turn if you put. Yeah, you're right. Even if you give the Haywire Mite Ranger-Captain's ability, you still can't sack it. That's true. Yeah, this has been a cool game for sure. One of Serpent as a tutor target with lots of stacks. I don't know. It just seems we already have so many tutor targets. I don't know that. I don't think Stone Coil would be worth the diminished power level in exchange for the versatility. Whenever you're thinking about adding a low power level card like Stone Coil Serpent, you need to ask yourself, is the increased flexibility worth the drop off in power level? I think in this case the answer is a somewhat resounding no. I kind of like blocking here. Trading? Just trade? Yeah, just trade. I think I'm going to Binding the Shadow Spear. Just stopping them from draw a card here. I think that trade's pretty good. Obviously a reasonable draw. I think that most of the time here we're probably going to want to play another ring. Although, maybe we're okay now. So we don't want to get Mites. We do want to get Ballista because that has Haywire Mite's ability. Well, I guess we could give anything Haywire Mite's ability. Oh, we have no more Granges. No more Granges. Yeah, so we just have we have Solitude and double Haywire Mite activation up here. No Surge here is crazy. I mean, if my opponent has Surge, I think they probably want to save it for Nexus next turn, maybe. Although, I don't know. I don't know if I would cast Surge if I had Surge there. Might, I guess. Might. Yeah, I know Cauldron can add a counter. Well, I'm gonna pet Athena here. Yeah, I think I did not think there was definitely a point where I did not think we were gonna win this game, but we maneuvered out of it, I think. So opponent can do the double Sigarda's Aid hammer trick, but that doesn't really accomplish anything because I'll just kill the hammer. Oh, just not even casting the hammer. Sure. Sure. I guess that's fair, like, you know, you're not gonna win if you cast it. So just don't cast it, I guess. I can just get my Temple Garden tapped here, I guess. I cycled my other Triome this game and I'm out of Granges. Could counter kill Nexus. Yeah, I can just take one. I guess it's no. It is good to go for it actually, because I want to use some mana here. What the fuck? I think my opponent is trying to think too much about like an impossible to win game, but casting this now makes 0 sense. Do you get to gain 2 life with this? I think you do. I'm drawing at infinite cards. I'll just use her mana. Forgot about Mite. I think that they've recognized that this game is mostly impossible to win, and they've thought a little bit too long about it. Life gain is separate. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's when it dies, right? You're right. Oh, 5-0. Let's go. 5-0 first league with the deck. Pretty exciting. No, he had touch before. I started out 2 Heliods. I think it makes sense for these kind of games, though, where you just control the board, and then eventually you'll draw into the combo. Pretty exciting. I think we're just going to run it back.